Hello, how are we doing? Firstly, apologies for the slight delay there, just building anticipation. We had a few technical difficulties there, but we're buzzing. We eventually got in, not far off kickoff now. So Daz, how are we feeling? It's a countdown to kickoff show. We're buzzing. How are you feeling towards the game? Huge game, one of the biggest of the season.
Yeah, probably the biggest so far for us in a long time, Conroy. Really excited for it. Today's a big asset test, I think. You look at City last week going in, there was a bit of pressure with the Chelsea, PSG, Liverpool game coming up all away from home. I think City would have taken 4 points going into these two games against Chelsea and Liverpool. So all the pressure's on us today. We're at home. It's another big game. The game we had earlier in the season against Chelsea, again, was another asset test. We missed out massively on an extra 2 points in that game. They were down to 10 men for albeit the whole second half, and we just weren't clinical enough in the day. So today is a game where I feel there's pressure on us. There's fans back at Anfield from the last time we played City. There's also a stat the City haven't beaten us consecutively in the league since mid-1930s. So all the omens are looking good for today, Conroy, with the return, obviously, of fans. And just relishing this game. I can't wait for it. Liverpool, City, two elite teams, two elite coaches. What more could you ask for? It's Super Sunday. What's your thoughts on today's game, Conroy, and are you confident going into today?
To be honest, it's a strange one. I think someone summed up in a tweet earlier, it's always a exciting and nerve-wracking game at the same time, because to be perfectly honest, that's how my heart will feel as the game's about to start, an ambulance passing there. But the way it's kind of been, Daz, I've got to be honest, even when we beat City in the past, the 4-3 game I thought were amazing. Even when we beat them 3-1, we've always started quick. I do think as Liverpool fans we tend to forget that 3-1 when we beat them with Fabinho scores early. City probably started that game much better. They have 3 good chances at the very start of the game. So I think from that it shows, I think Gary Neville in his pre-match said as well, I do think we have to go at them early because it's worked in the past and I don't know why we'd change it now. We've got our full team back. It's not like last year's fixture at Anfield when we got battered, but there was underlying circumstances for that from the personnel. I am looking forward to it, but just before we get into that, Daz, I've seen a few people say recently that this is, forget about kind of historical notions, I'd say United Liverpool is the biggest game, but when it comes to quality, is this one of the biggest games in the world right now with the standard of the teams that are playing? Would you say that it's up there?
Yeah. Both teams have huge respects for each other. Both managers do. Two of the elite coaches. I mean, if you're a team tomorrow and you lose your manager and you're not at the level of Liverpool and City, but you'd love a Klopp or a Guardiola to win, wouldn't you? For what they give for squad harmony, just the players that they can identify, what they can do with players, they're hands-on. They're just technically brilliant and they're also emotionally brilliant. And I think it's probably at this, you look at the Champions League in the last couple of seasons, Liverpool and City, obviously City got to the final last season, they haven't won one yet, but even in the league and Champions League, Liverpool and City have always been thereabouts. So it's one of these games today that at Anfield with fans, we know it's obviously history and traditionally and historic, and traditionally it's a really good stadium and the supporters are going to be buzzing for it. So, I do think so. And I think that adds to the spice today to it. I think that adds a bit of cream to what's already serving today with the atmosphere today. Because I know a couple of people that's gone over and it's absolutely hopping over there. And come kick off, it's going to be electric as always at Anfield.
No, it will be, absolutely. I think the atmosphere, I think we've kind of seen that through COVID, especially with Liverpool, a few other teams as well, like Sheffield United would come into that from last season. It did affect us. The squad obviously being depleted massively, it was a massive reason as well. But Kevin Ball's great comment says, a massive test for Curtis Jones today. What's your thoughts on that, Daz, on Curtis? And do you think, obviously the Champions League game of the week, he didn't get 4 assists. He got 2 assists, but he had 4 goal. What's the word? Goal. What's the word when you're involved? Associated with 4 goals.
Yeah, contribution.
Goal contributions. Couldn't remember the bloody word there. Yeah. But on that, and then he also had a good game against Brentford as well. Scored the long range strike. How do you think he'll get on today? You worried about him, or do you think he'll rise to the test?
No, I think he'll relish it, and I hope he does rise to the test. But if you ask me now, I'd say that he will. Look, he's a local lad, come through the academy. What more can he want? He's playing at Anfield, playing for an unbelievable Liverpool team, managed by probably the best manager, could go down to be one of the best of all time. He's certainly up there with the greats, isn't he, at the club for what he's done on and off the pitch. Curtis will relish it. He hasn't had a lot of... I remember last season, I was saying whatever happens last season, the one good thing to come out of it was Curtis Jones. And towards the end of the season, we've seen more Naby Keita and Knox involved, and we've seen Fabinho going back into that holding role. And I think the reason for that was Curtis already proven himself to Klopp what he could do, but the others hadn't. So Ox hadn't enough last season. Naby Keita, we felt needed more of a chance when fit, obviously, and he was towards the end, and that's why he was given more game time. And Thiago as well, because he had his fair share of injuries. But for me, Curtis, I think, has proven already in the big games what he can do. But certainly it's going to be a big test because last season he did struggle against City, didn't he? But we look with Fabinho, with Henderson, as you just a centre back, as you touched on there, Conroy, with loads of reasons and arguments as to why things went bad for us last season, particularly in this fixture. I think it was in February they spanked us. But Curtis will relish this today. He's absolutely boss midweek. I seen Paddy Power at the end of the game had up and Andres Iniesta and says Curtis Jones tonight. That's how good he was. And look, he's been given his chance this season, Conroy, and he's taken it already. But today it's going to be a big test for him. And with Thiago out, we know Naby Keita gets his injuries. Fabinho and Henderson do also in the middle. It's a good chance for Curtis to not cement the place there, but to show that he's available and he's ready and he can do it when it really counts. And I'm hoping today he does that again. But it's a game he'll relish, no doubt about it. These are the big games and the ones that you have to come out and stand up above everyone else in. And I think he will do it. Have you any nerves about him? Or obviously, I'm like everyone.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at that comment there, Daz. Sorry. I'm just laughing at that comment there. I was out last night. I was at a wedding yesterday. So I apologise. I missed who said that comment. It looked like Spud. Well, I feel like Spud from Train Spawn. Because I'm not too hungover, but yeah, that was the first time. It was a few bottles of wine last night. A few different pictures of different bottles of wine that I don't remember drinking. So I do feel a bit like that. It is allowed. It was my first proper drink in a long time. So it was good. It was good. But I appreciate that comment. Just kick me when I'm down. But no. But I just touching this first. Avel Ford was saying, big tribute to Sir Roger on the Klopp today, and I actually saw the picture. I don't know if you saw it. Daz, before on Twitter, it showed you they've got obviously the LFC and it showed you the Roger. I think the terminology's left me, but it was a cracking tribute, and we'll see it later on today.
The mosaics they have in it, it'd be fantastic and well deserved accolade for an unbelievable player, a legend to Liverpool Football Club, and obviously rest in peace. You know what I mean? And
absolutely,
condolences to his family.
No, of course, and I think it'll be a fitting tribute today. So that'll be. Obviously very lovely to see, and I think it'll be a wonderful tribute. But on the actual team sheet, what's standing out? I think the big question, Daz, is the one we're going to talk about is Milner. Now, it looks like it'll probably be a Grealish. City are quite fluid and move positions slightly in games, but primarily it's going to be Grealish against Milner. How do you think he'll get on against Grealish? Two Aston Villa legends competing against each other.
He's very composed, he's compact, he's experienced, he's Mr. Reliable, isn't he, James Milner? In the last game against Palace at home, he done really well. I seen a stat at the end of the game. I didn't notice as the game went on that he done as well as he did, but he was forced to everything. So really good lad to bring in there, plenty of experience. And if he's going to play a part in stopping Grealish from being creative today and being of any real threat, it's going to be James Milner, isn't it? So you fully trust the Milner. And I like what Milner offers as well going forward. I think Trent is going to be a huge loss, absolutely, because that position's a natural to him. He's so good, dominates games so well there. But if you're bringing in someone behind Trent, it's going to have to be James Milner there. And I think he's proven himself at left back in midfield for us, and obviously at right full as well. When I've seen him, he's done really well. So I'm hoping Milner does what he can do best today and does stop Grealish, because Grealish is obviously world class and he's had 2 goals already for City. Hasn't had a massive impact for them. But
I thought he was good against Chelsea. I thought he was quite good against Chelsea.
He was very good. He should have scored as well against Chelsea, actually. Yeah, he was really good in that game. I watched him. He'd one that went wide. Keeper pulled off a good save. But Grealish is going to relish this as well, isn't he? He's going to be coming to Anfield today and knows what this game's going to be about. He's a big sign and big pressure on him to obviously do what he can do best. But let's hope James Milner with Matip, Van Dijk there and Robbo, I think they're the best 3 lads as well at the back that we can have available today. And it's a huge test again, but you'd have to be confident that looking at our lineup today and how we played in midweek, we've a bit of momentum now, a bit of confidence from how the season started. We're the only team as well unbeaten. I know that's very early to say that because we're only 7 games into it. But when you take into consideration the Champions League, the League Cup game, we've been very consistent. So it's a game I can't wait for, and I'm hoping the lads do deliver and do what they can do best today. But What's your take on James Milner, Conroy? Are you okay to see him there today with how he's done?
No, absolutely. I think I've told you before, said it numerous on the Daytrippers different channels as well, that for me, Milner is 100% the second right back. He's got the balance on attack and defence better than anyone else, because Gomez, good defensively, brilliant defensively at times, but nothing in attack. Nico Williams, not enough for me. So James Milner is my go-to anyway. So it's an obvious one to put him in. He can play the position well. He's done it numerous times. Solid, offers us attack. Obviously, it's not the same as Trent, but you're never going to get. You can't just handpick a playmaker who plays right back. That he's a one-off Trent, so you're not going to get that. But I do feel that Milner will do the job. It will be a test today. I feel like you can't be naive to think that Grealish. It's not just going to be Grealish you'll have to worry about. You've got the certain. Forgive me, I forgot. I meant to check. Is Cancelo playing at left side for City?
Cancelo's playing left side, yeah.
So even if you watch the overlaps against Chelsea, it's not just necessarily Grealish. It's the way you'll bring other players into play, and maybe there'll be sometimes certain players in the midfield or the false nine will drop into that space behind. So we have to have our wits about us, because obviously, as much as we joke, City are probably the best for the edge, getting to the edge of the box and their movement. I'd say they're the best at that. It's maybe a strange one today because we're going to be coming out anyway, so it's not a case of they're going to have to break us down. We're not going to sit in like a Burnley, etc. However, yeah, it's like anything, like any City Liverpool game. It's going to be force against force, and it's just going to be a battle to see who comes out on top. And thankfully, when we've started quick against them in the past, it's paid off. So I firmly believe we need to do that again. That's what we need to do. Kind of fire with fire sounds a bit. I don't mean like make it basketball like Brentford. I'm not saying that, but we have to go at them. 100% have to go at them. I'm not saying gun ho, but we have to really go for it, because that's how we've got the better of them in the past. We've kind of took advantage early. I don't know if you feel that that's the best way to go at it, Daz, or
yeah,
do you feel each
I
other
do,
out?
and I think that's the only way we really know how to do it, isn't it? At home with the crowd edging us on,
Against
with
City,
the
against
crowd
other
being,
teams, I do think we can feel it more out. I just feel like City, they've just got the quality to hurt you at any point in the game. Look at the Chelsea game last season. 60 minutes in, Jesus gets the goal, and obviously Chelsea get a man sent off. They did get a man sent off, and then take control. However, I feel like that technique's worked in the past, and I think it will work again, and hopefully it works today.
That's it. Intensity, energy, creativity, just have to on the front foot from the get going, and hopefully today is going to be our day.
You use that momentum, use the momentum with the crowd, use it today, as we always do anyway.
And that belief and confidence that we've built up since the start of the season. Do you think, obviously it's early days, but if we win today, we'll have to be considered as favourites, won't we? I mean, with how well we've started the season. But look, I think we're happy to be the underdogs, aren't we? Yeah, we're happy to be underdogs.
My favourites. Couldn't care less. Just be quiet. It's game by game for the Liverpool fan base. I don't care what other people are saying. They can make noise all they want. Doesn't really matter to me. It's 3 points. It's game by game. It's football. It's not a thesis on science. You just take it game by game, and we're doing that. Yeah. I don't care what the media says. They can keep going with that. That Red Steve comment there says he better get an apple because he's getting schooled today. That was on Jack Grealish. I hope so, Red Steve.
Yeah.
As always, Red Steve goes straight for the jugular.
He'll definitely get a yellow card at some point, won't he, Milner?
Well, he's kind of got a bit of Fernandinho about him recently, Milner. He seems to fill and never get booked at times. Like he's just that kind of apologies, that it's the Fernandinho technique. He's the expert at it. MP says City starting 5 attackers, Cancelo, 5 attackers plus Cancelo. Pep isn't here to play around. Interesting point, MP, as well, because I do know it was actually 3 seasons ago now when we beat them 4-3 the year before. It was
2018.
The 0-0 game when Mahrez blown the penalty over. Pep did actually change a little bit. He made his right backs and left back were more conservative in that game, because I felt like he didn't want to. He did change his style a little bit for us. That's one of the only times I've seen Pep do that. But today, I do feel like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's maybe not as attacking usually City would be. And I know you might disagree, and that might not be the case. But I do feel like he always takes into consideration the Anfield atmosphere and the way that we've had success against City. So I do think he'll tweak it slightly. But as that comment said, it's a lot of attacking quality. So he's not here to mess around, and it's a very good point.
Yeah, it is. It's a game that they'll feel they can win, and they might need to win. Look, as I said at the start of the show, that 4 points away to Chelsea, away to Liverpool, you take 4 points. I think they take it. They were under a bit of pressure going to that game with the Pep, whatever way you want to look at calling out the fans, they draw against Southampton. Then obviously they were beaten midweek. Although they didn't play that bad midweek, I didn't think 2-0 in Paris. So look, there's pressure for Liverpool to win this today because we're at home, but there's also huge pressure on City, and make no doubt about it. City will want to win today, lay down a marker. They were favourites coming in before the ball was kicked. They did spend big money. They'll feel that their recruitment is being good. And
I think
look,
money is irrelevant sometimes, Daz. I understand there's pressure
yeah,
and stuff, but like with teams like nowadays with City and the money gets spent, let's be honest, I don't think there's additional pressure anymore. The money City have spent doesn't really change the yardstick, if you ask me. 100 million, fair enough, but they spent 50 million on like 4 left backs or full backs at one point. I do think money to a certain stage with football with teams like City.
And they didn't get the number 9 that they wanted. Look, it was no secret they wanted Kane, didn't get that, so
I think the squad's pretty good, mate. I think they'll still
definitely.
of course.
They're pretty good, and the Sterling as well today. That's not starting. That's obviously he's broke his duck at Anfield, hasn't he? He's got an assist. He's got a goal.
Yeah.
They've always him to come on as well. That's going to be a huge threat, and he'll fancy his chances today coming on against his old team, his old stomping ground. But it's what do you think of the front three for Liverpool today? Obviously,
just before that does, I just want to shout out Chris's comment. Chris Brack, shout out. It was just to say the full time with the women's team today was 2-0 against Coventry. I believe Coventry had a player sent off first half, I'm sure. So that's unlike Liverpool did against Chelsea when they had a full half against 10 men. The women's team actually managed to use that to advantage. So congratulations to them with a great result. Kev O'Sullivan said KDB third game in a week after a long layoff injury. That's a really good point, is Kev. Maybe touch on that just after we talk about the front three, Kev. So we'll talk on KDB to work before we finish the stream, but really good comment. On the front three, Daz, that was maybe the other talking point, is Jota over Firmino. I actually think it's good to see, even though I would have played Firmino today, that he's stuck by Jota because the team's been winning with Jota playing there. So he's going to continue to do that, even though it's against a City who I think Bobby's probably better because he'll drop in and there'll be spaces in behind. Unlike the other teams we've played, that's not always the case. But interesting to see. What's your thoughts on Jota starting?
I'm pleased as well. I am. I think he's a bit more clinical, a bit more ruthless in front of goal. And as you said, when he starts, he does get goals. Like the goal he got last week against Brentford, he made it look easy, but it wasn't the goal where he gets to his head. Unbelievable goal.
And so good at heading, man. He's not a big guy. He's a wee guy. He's so good.
Yeah. I think Bobby, look, for ball attention, as you said, dropping deep, finding those spaces is really good. And today's game might have probably suited him, but he's only come back from injury. There might have been something to do with his fitness. I know he comes on against Porto, scores 2 goals. It was probably a lot easier for him to do that because we were in a good winning position and he's come on. But today, I'm happy enough with the front three lads the way they are and with Jota there. I think Jota's been brilliant since he's come in. We all know the goals, he's got the assists, the part he's played. But today, we're going to have to take our chances when we're giving them. And I would fancy Jota over Firmino. But then obviously, Bobby offers you, that drop in.
I feel like we might not get the ball as much. I'm not saying we won't have the ball, but City are going to try and control it as well. So the thing is, it wasn't my point. Someone said it during the week in a show, and they said Firmino's much better at keeping the ball, as you said, with ball retention. And that might be more crucial today than it has been in previous games. Because I love Jota, but there is times, especially against Etihad last season, I thought he was actually really poor on the ball at times. Like poor, not his standard, he's not poor, but his touch was very poor in that day. And today, that's the one thing I'm a little bit worried about. But as you said, if Bobby's not fit enough or not fully there, you're better maybe to go with Jota, and then if it's not working, you can bring Bobby on. However, these games are on a knife edge a lot of the time, so we'll see. But I'm still confident he can perform today, Jota. I'm not worried. I'm not overly worried. Sorry. However, that's the one tweak I would have maybe done if Bobby was fully fit.
Yeah, probably. And look, it's probably a toss for coin really, because we don't know how fit he is at the comeback, but he's certainly a good option to have on the bench. Like a couple of the lads that I named you off stream, with Keita on the bench as well, Ox, Minamino, who we know hasn't
hard to think about the bench though,
Daz,
isn't it? It's hard to think about the bench in these games because I can't look that far ahead in these games. I feel like these games are so small margins with everything in these games, so I can't even think about what after 45 minutes. I'm so engrossed in it. But Chris says as well, Bobby would have been good out of possession sitting on Rodri. Very good point. However, don't get me wrong, Jota's got better at that, but Firmino's probably the best at it. It worked well against reasonably. He's done it a few times this season. He's an expert at it, to be honest. And Kevin Sullivan says the benches are strong for once. I don't know, Kev. It's been strong recently as well. I mean, you have got £100 million worth of signings on that bench as well. So let's not deter
it's been
from
better
that.
than last season. I think last season when we looked at our starting 11, we'd Fabinho, Henderson at the back. We'd know. Like our options were
but that's a one-off season. That's not going to happen very often. You know that.
And it's great this season to be going into a big game, having fans, and then having those options. Obviously, Van Dijk there, Matip, who I think have started off great. But I do think a lot of our team was off the last week. A lot of the lads were against Brentford. You're going to have them off days, but I suppose another day we would have lost that. So coming into this game, still unbeaten in the league.
Well, the Porto game was massive. Playing them in the Porto game was massive.
Yeah, it was huge. Yeah, 5 goals. It was huge. And then obviously winning in the Champions League, it means you're probably looking at 4 points out of our next 2, and we're as good as true. But it's going to be difficult because it's the back-to-back against Atletico.
Yeah, it's good getting that solid performance before the back-to-back, because as much as you may disagree they're not in great form, I know they beat Barcelona yesterday. They're always against us. It's always a hard game. I don't care what their form's like. It's always a hard game. But which is another really good comment there by I think Stephen O'Callaghan about again Bobby's pressing as well, and he maybe would have started Bobby over Jota. So there might be a kind of split in the fan base on that one today. But as I say, we know Jota can perform, so hopefully we'll see it today. But it's going to be interesting. Is there any other points in the squad you wanted to maybe address in the midfield? Anything you wanted to bring up, Daz, regarding the lineup? And
well, it's not really. No, I'm pleased enough with the starting 11 today. I think, look, Curtis Jones does brilliant, amazing, 2 assists in Porto. We get the goal last week against Brentford. I think he's done really well when he's come on this season, so I think he's deserved the start. I did see something, it might have been on the COP TV, where the lads were talking about at his age, he's had much as probably more of a contribution than what Gerrard had. And look, it depends on what way you want to look at that. But he's certainly grown, and it's great to see him start today for us and in midfield. Against an elite team, as I just mentioned, City are they're probably the favourites for the league, and rightly so. So it's going to be a massive test today for the team in general, especially for Curtis Jones. But it's one where it'd be great to just see Curtis evolve now, come out today again, stamp his authority, do really well, and look, we'll be all singing his praises. But is there anything you'd like to add? Like, what do you think of the midfield with Fabinho, Henderson, Jones there?
I'm quite happy with that, Daz, to be honest. I think we've kind of covered that, and I kind of reiterate what you said. I would maybe just touch on as well, VVD last week was probably his worst game, or not his worst game, but it was a poor game. It's probably Robbo's worst game. Yeah. But focusing on VVD, coming back, he's played well. But his title rivals this season, I'd say Chelsea and City. I feel confident Van Dijk will perform today, but that's one I'm going to be watching as well, because I think he's been brilliant so far, bar Brentford. So it'll be interesting to watch that. I've got full confidence he'll smash it today, but I just feel like that's one I just wanted to mention. That for me, he's still the top defender. He's still the best defender in the world. And I feel like he's going to prove that today.
Yeah, and like, how many times does he ever have an off game? It's one out of, like, I mean, I don't know exactly the stats, but he's Mr. Consistent, Mr. Reliable, Cam as you like, Virgil van Dijk, we all know it. He's a Rolls Royce, he's unbelievable, and I think when he's a bad game, he'll be his own worst critic, and he's going to want to bounce back today and put that behind him and put in a performance today in a game where it really matters. And like, if we get a win today, we're forgetting about Brentford as quick as it happens.
I think the Porto game had done a lot for that as well, mate. I think that was the rhythm Klopp said was really important, because it worked out, because we got a great result. And at that time last week, people were saying, Robbo, should he be starting? Should Tsimikas be starting? And I believe Tsimikas should start against Porto, but because he played Robbo, he had a great game. Robbo starts today. So this is decisions by Klopp that show why he's such a great manager, because a lot of people were saying change the squad for Porto. He didn't, and it's proved dividends. It's worked out very well.
Yeah, and that's what great players do, don't they? When they're off, they come back and bounce back stronger. And sometimes it's not how hard you hit; it's how hard you can get hit and get back up. And obviously, they've proven their worth. So it's a game I just can't wait for. Conroy, roller on 4:30. It's buzzing over there, and it's just a game though against one of our title rivals. I think today we've got to be winning. I think the one against Chelsea, okay, we drew. They're an unbelievable team.
Both at home as well, mate.
It's harder when you're playing against 10 men. But at home, we need to,
well, that's them done. That's the 2 home ones done, mate. So it's going to be Chelsea away and Man City away in the rest of the season. They're going to be hard games. And
harder to
especially
go
if
there.
City win today, that means they've won at Stamford Bridge and Anfield, right? And then they've got us and Chelsea at home to play, which they've got advantage with. So the season's early, I'm not disputing that, but they could be massive moments. They are important. So can't lose
Yeah, they
today.
are. Yeah.
And I'd love a win. We
I
need to
think
go for the
I
win.
think sometimes we say like it's the cliche, it's a marathon, not a sprint. But I think sometimes in these games there is a sprint and not a marathon, that you have to be bang on it. You have to make sure, obviously, you don't
Just
get beat.
because
Because
City
there's
won
only
last week as well against at Stamford Bridge, if they can have a
yeah,
back-to-back wins at Stamford Bridge and Anfield, that's probably iconic as well for a season. Like if Liverpool done that, we would be saying that's just unbelievable to win at Old Trafford and then Etihad or Stamford Bridge and Etihad. So I think it's important that we just stop City winning. They go for the win, but if we get the draw, we'll
go for the
take it.
win.
I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, we'll be still unbeaten. So look, hopefully there's some positives to take away if we don't win today. That's what we want, but it's going to be hard to look at, especially when you're at home. But I'm confident, Conroy. Are you confident to win today? And
Yeah, I'm
I suppose
confident.
we'll
I'm
go on score
confident.
predictions.
I think we'll go into that now. I think there'll be both chances as always. I think every game, Liverpool, City, both teams have chances. I just feel like we'll create chances. We just need to take them. Just need to take them. And we're usually good against City. Believe it or not, we're actually not bad against City for taking our chances. Against the other games, we've got the problem. We finish in more than one. So what's your score prediction today, Daz? Who do you think the score will be?
2-1
And everyone in the
Liverpool.
comments, sorry, in the comments, everyone put your
Yeah,
score
throw them
prediction as
in.
well.
I'm going
So
to go
what's
for 2-1 Conroy to Liverpool. Scorers will be Salah. I think, look, unbelievable. You'd have to back Salah if you're getting 2 goals today. Salah and Jota I'm going to go for. And then for City, possibly Jesus or Sterling to come on and score. Hopefully he doesn't, but or Grealish, I don't know. It doesn't matter, I suppose. City will get 1, we'll get 2, take the 3 points and remain on top of the league. Still early, 31 games to go after today, but you'd rather be there than not be, you know. What's your predictions on today and on score?
Well, I agree 2-1, but some of the comments are saying like Andy was just saying, it's a must-win after the draw against Chelsea. I do understand that attitude, Andy, because I do feel like it was a missed opportunity against Chelsea, especially when they had 10 men. So I understand why some people feel like it's a must-win today. Not quite there yet, but it would be massive if we could get the win. It'd be huge. Some have got some 2-0s, 3-1. I'm 2-1 as well. I agree with Daz. I think that's exactly the score will be. I do think we'll concede. Hope we don't, but I do think we will. Kevo Sullivan says 2-0 VVD and Salah. Hope so, mate. Hope we get a clean sheet. Somebody got Kieran B saying Jota to score in the first 15 minutes. Red Sea, check them out after the game. They're on. So it's countdown to kick off. You got the match reaction, the Red Sea podcast, guys. Superb. Get watching them, and hopefully it's a positive reaction. Hopefully it's a positive reaction after it. So I feel like 2-1's probably, it's quite a common one as well. 2-1 or 3-1. Who's the player of the match for you? Someone Scouse. Justice for 97 said 3-1. Curtis, man of the match. Who's your man of the match?
I'm going to agree with him. I'm going to go for Curtis. I think, as I mentioned, all the reasons earlier, go out today, put in a good performance, give Jurgen something more to think about. We're obviously Thiago out now, and as I said, we know the midfielders that are prone to injury. This can be where he can really up his game and be more recognised the more he is. So look, amongst the Liverpool fan base, he's very recognised and there's huge respect there. But coming into a game like this against City early on the season, putting in a man the match display, it'd be really, really, it'd be next to level stuff. So hopefully Curtis Jones. I'm going to go for Jonesy and agree with the last comment there. Yeah, who do you think?
So just some of the comments, Salah man of the match. I think most people would say that most weeks Kevin Ball, but fair enough, mate. I would say Fabinho, Kevo Sullivan saying that's a good shout as well. I'm going to go for Hendo today. I feel like Henderson played well. I know sometimes people will maybe disagree, but I feel like in these matches, Henderson can shine and really force that intensity. So for me, I think Hendo or Fabinho, but since Kev said Fabinho, I'm going for Henderson. Fabinho's outstanding during the week. I think that's built his confidence. He's a top player. He's allowed to have one bad game. And Chris Brack saying Alisson to show a big reaction from last home game versus City last season.
That's right.
Yeah, fair enough, mate. He didn't have a good one. Let's be honest, though. Everything was going from bad to worse at that stage, to be honest. And I think when you watch the Foden goal, you think that's unbelievable. But then when you watch it again, he's just struck it hard, but it's not in the corner. It goes right through Alisson. So I think that's a great comment, Chris. It
was a great point of players then.
Yeah, no. And to be fair, they just from what we were being depleted squad, it just looked like it was like the levels were striking at that point. But we know why that was the case. But City were just the team they had was just light years better than us on that day. Levels with numerous reasons for that, but it's not going to be like that today. Daz, just before we finish up and you add anything, I'm just going to say, as you can see at the top, the Countdown to Kickoff show is brought to you by Manscaped. So if you've got great, I use Manscaped, outstanding. I'm not going to give you any more information than that, not give you too much info, but Manscaped, superb brand. So it's brought to you by manscaped.com. If you want to visit manscaped.com and use the code LFCDT at checkout for 20% off and free shipping, details are in the description below. Manscaped. I've got a few friends who are quite good with the puns on it. I'm not going to try that because, one, I'm a bit hungover. I probably feel a bit rough. I'll tell you what, before I went out last night, I used that because I feel like it's much more comfortable to be a bit more groomed down there. So shout out to Manscaped. Daz, on that, any comments before the game? Anything else you want to add just before we finish up?
No, nothing at all, Conroy. I'm pleased for everything, and shout out to everybody for obviously tuning in today, leaving the comments. Remember to like and subscribe if you already haven't. I'm sure everyone in the comments has. So now just looking forward to this, and hopefully come 6:30 this evening, your hangover will be better and Liverpool are in a better position. So that's it, Conroy. But thanks for today, mate.
No, just before we go, I'm okay. I'm exaggerating the hangover, but I said I've not been drinking for a while, so I think Gav's off the drink now. I might be off the drink as well. I've actually got something on tonight as well. It's not a drinking thing; it's a show at the Hydro right after the game. So brilliant. I'm hoping we win because that's going to be a tough 2 hours show if we don't win, honestly, or at least not lose. So I'm confident that I will not have to sit through our show feeling depressed. So I'm hoping for that. But to everyone in the comments, thanks as always. Kickoff's 15 minutes away. Hopefully we'll get the win sorted and get it dealt with, and it'll be a massive result. A few people in the comments are saying Conroy's cat is like the Sphinx after manscaping him. It's a she, and I've not used the manscaper on my cat, even though she's more popular than me. The amount of people who use the emoji for the cat and the bell is unbelievable. But yeah, thanks to everyone. So from me and from Daz, take care and hopefully get the result. And we'll see you soon. Okay, so to everyone,
see you all. Take care.
Bye bye.